If you ever take Route 9 through the Adirondacks after midnight, and you see a diner with every light on and not a single car in the lot, keep driving. I didn't. And I still don't know what I let sit down across from me. My name's Dana Whitfield. I'm 29, I live in Albany, New York, and up until last October I would have told you the scariest thing in my life was public speaking. I worked nights as a pharmacy tech, which meant a lot of solo drives on empty roads, a lot of gas station coffee, and, apparently, a tolerance for things most people would have turned around from immediately. I wish I hadn't. My cousin Reggie was getting married outside Saranac Lake, way up in the mountains, and since I was the only family member with a reliable car, I volunteered to drive our grandmother, Miss Odell, up for the wedding. She's 74, sharp as a tack, and has never once let me forget she raised 4 kids without GPS. We left Albany around 9 p.m. on a Friday, planning to get a hotel halfway and finish the drive in the morning. We never found a hotel with vacancy. Every single one on our route claimed to be fully booked, which felt strange for a random Friday in the off-season, but we didn't think much of it at the time. By 1 a.m., Miss Odell was asleep in the passenger seat, and I was running on fumes, both literal and otherwise. That's when I saw the sign, Edie's Round-the-Clock Diner, 2 miles, glowing orange against the tree line. I took the exit gratefully. The parking lot was empty except for a single pickup truck with its headlights on, engine running, nobody inside. I remember thinking that was odd, who leaves a running truck unattended in the mountains at 1 a.m.? But I was too tired to care. I woke Miss Odell and we went in. Inside, Edie's was warm, bright, smelled like bacon grease and fresh coffee. A waitress named Trudy, her name tag said so, sat us at a booth and took our order without much conversation. Normal. Almost too normal, in that fluorescent, humming way empty diners get at 1 a.m. Then Miss Odell grabbed my wrist under the table. "Dana," she whispered, "that man's been staring at you since we walked in." I looked. In the corner booth sat an older man in a flannel shirt, coffee untouched in front of him, eyes locked on me. Not blinking. When I met his gaze, he didn't look away, he smiled, slow, like he'd been waiting for me specifically. We ate fast. When I went to pay, Trudy was gone, a different waitress was behind the register, younger, blonde, who insisted she'd been working the whole shift alone. I asked about Trudy. She said there was no Trudy on staff, never had been. I didn't argue. I just wanted out. Back in the car, the pickup truck was gone from the lot, but as we pulled onto Route 9, its headlights appeared in my rear view, tailing us at a steady distance. For 11 miles, it never closed the gap and never fell back. Miss Odell had her rosary out, praying under her breath, something she hadn't done since my grandfather's funeral. Then, at a bend in the road, the truck's headlights simply vanished. Not turned off, vanished, mid-curve, like someone had cut the film. I pulled over, hands shaking too hard to keep driving. That's when Miss Odell said something that still keeps me up at night, "This happened to your Aunt Corinne." Same road. She never told you because she didn't want you scared off visiting me. We didn't make it to the wedding that night. We checked into a 24-hour motel 40 minutes further on, and the next morning, instead of driving to Saranac Lake, I drove back toward Edie's Diner in broad daylight, determined to prove to myself it had just been exhaustion playing tricks. Edie's wasn't there. Not closed, not boarded up, gone. In its place was a gravel turnout and the collapsed foundation of a building that, according to the County Historical Society I called 2 days later, had burned down in 1987. 9 people died in that fire, including the owner, a woman named Edith Marsh. I found an old newspaper clipping the historian emailed me. The obituary photo of Edith's husband, the man who died trying to pull people out of the flames, was the same face that had smiled at me from the corner booth. Here's the part that changed everything. I called Aunt Corinne, expecting her to confirm Miss Odell's story. Instead, she went quiet on the phone, then admitted something my grandmother didn't know: Corinne hadn't just seen the diner once. She'd eaten there 4 separate times over 20 years, on every long drive she'd ever taken alone at night, and each time, she'd left something behind by accident, a scarf, a ring, a photograph. Small things. She always assumed she'd just misplaced them. "It's not haunting the road, Dana," she said. "I think it's collecting." 3 weeks later, driving home alone from a late shift, I saw the orange glow of Edie's round-the-clock diner in my mirror, behind me, on a stretch of road I'd already passed. I did not turn around. I did not slow down. I drove the whole way home at 90 miles an hour with my hazards on, sobbing, certain that if I looked in that mirror one more time, the sign would be closer. I checked my glove compartment when I finally got home. Sitting on top of my registration, folded neatly, was a paper napkin with Edie's printed in orange script, the same napkin Trudy had set down under my coffee cup that night. I never took Route 9 again. But last month, my cousin Reggie mentioned he'd found a strange napkin tucked into his suit jacket the morning after his wedding, one from a diner he swears he's never heard of.